Every day my mom would peel an apple and slice it for me. I've actually been reading Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic for exactly a week now today. It always feels amazing whenever the story that I'm reading has me in a chokehold. Yeah, I mentioned it in one of my videos, but I was chasing the feeling of wanting to drop everything in order to read the piece of fanfiction that I'm following or I'm reading. I finally got it with Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic. I feel like there are a couple of reasons as to why I'm so drawn to this story. I feel like you guys would argue that Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic is not something that I would personally go for. The type of love and dynamic that Draco and Hermione share in Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic is very different from the love that I've been seeking out and I've been reading lately for a very long time now. I guess I've been vanilla with Hermione and going for soft love for like a few months now. Along with like the relationship development between Draco and Hermione, I feel like I am at the point where I was seeking out very mature, very competent, very understanding Draco and Hermione. So in turn, they are ultimately very soft and very tender. But what we have in Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic is like the true characterization of Draco and Hermione. So it's very different. It's very refreshing for me to finally read Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic, to know that fear, that icy, and that hot love. I'm at like 61% now, but I would say that the first 50% of the story, the entire first half of the story, has them fighting each other every step along the way. When I say fight, I mean physically fighting and magically fighting, not just verbally. Like they don't do that child play stuff, okay? So it's very different for me. It's very new, and it's kind of like connect me back to when I first started reading Hermione, because that enemy to lover element is very popping off in this story. And I think that another thing that whatmurdah did so well to make Bloody and Slutty and Pathetic a very, very unique marriage law story is that the politics that we get to see in the story goes beyond the marriage law. The marriage law is kind of like a front for a lot more of political activities going on in the background. So the story is super complex, and it shows us the depth that whatmurdah is willing to go to for her story. Another thing that a lot of people are interested in BSB would say is very special about this story is the side pairing. Author gave a lot of real estate for Pansy and Neville, as well as Theo and his counterpart. I feel like it kind of breaks down the story a little bit and show us like many relationships at once. Kudos to whatmurdah talent. She can write many different pairings in one fic and making them very unique from each other. Personally speaking, I'm so in love with the amount of hands that are on display in this story. I already tell you guys about it. Like I have a thing for hands, and came across this photo on the internet and I was like, that's PSB Draco. I'll show you guys. Yeah, see, he's always bloody in this story, and I didn't know that he would be this bloody from the title, even though it say Bloody, Slutty and Pathetic, and also the synopsis, which reiterate that he's bloody in this. I didn't know how much I would love seeing or like imagining Draco in blood until I read this story and coming across this photo, because like this story is a very well balanced out story. Even though it's kind of focused on marriage law, it goes way beyond that. But I have to be honest with you guys, when I first started the story, I was this close to dropping out of it, because there are something that grate my nerve with this, but there are something else about this story that tell me to keep turning the page, and I'm so engrossed and I'm so invested in the timeline and how this story would turn out, and I'm so glad I did that. So this story kind of like scratched an itch that I didn't even know I had, and so this story will forever have a special place in my heart, no matter how it's gonna turn out at the end, because I know I still have like 39% to go. Yeah, so I finally understand what the talk of the hour is about, and I finally understand what this hype about this story is and why so many people are in love with it, despite it being not my cup of tea. Or is it my cup of tea, or is this story is gonna be the start of my another phase with Hermione fanfiction? Would this story unreveal some things that I don't think I like that I like? Say hello. friends. I'm in DC right now. I got into the hotel and changed and like freshen up, and now we're gonna go grab dinner. I'm excited for dinner tonight. Anyways, I'll take you to dinner. Okay. First night out continue with Froyo. You know what just happened? 1,500 friends? I gotta take a screenshot. Hey friends, we are back now. As you can see, it's our natural habitat again, and I need to talk to you about bloody, slutty, and pathetic, because the day after I talked to you guys about it, I actually finished the fic immediately the following day. I've already posted another video that talk about bloody, slutty, and pathetic, so if you guys have not read the story, I recommend heading over to that video to hear about bloody, slutty, and pathetic instead. I remember it was 12:30 at night, and mind you, it was a weekday, so I have work in the morning. Okay, it was past midnight when those idiots decided to do idiot things, and it was such a big idiot moment that I couldn't go to sleep, and I couldn't believe my eyes that they were still being idiots at that part of the story. And I was wondering, like, how far am I with the story at that time, and I pulled up the app and it tell me that I was at the 77%, more than 3/4 of the way of the story over, and you are still here fighting. And I was just doubting. I was doubting very hard, so I was like, I couldn't go to sleep, because what if they decide to do something stupid and I don't have the happy ending that everyone promised me on the internet? So of course, obviously, I stayed up until 2 a.m. to see the storm blew over. And then after everything that is said and done, in hindsight, I think that whatmurdah set up bloody, slutty, and pathetic in the most perfect way possible in terms of timeline. Because if you guys know me, you guys know that I really enjoy a story where it's like manly, angsty, and then boom, we have a happy ending at the end. So I feel like whatmurdah has just like tortured us with all the pain and drizzle in some fan service moment to keep us sane while reading that story, and then present to us one of the most hard-fought happy ending that I've ever seen, because they literally fought to get here. So after everything's said and done, I think it's perfect for me. But in the heat of the moment, I needed to stay until 2 a.m. reading that fic, because I was doubting. I know that you guys know too that there are things in this story that are just not my cup of tea, and I think the biggest setback for me from being able to say in totality that I love bloody, slutty, and pathetic is the fact that Hermione is very physical in this story. I don't think I've ever read a story where Hermione has physically hurt Draco or anyone else for that matter before, so it was taking me aback a little. I want to say that I understand the situation that they are in, the frustration that they feel, and I understand how Draco contributes to all of her anger by being such a toxic person. I just cannot believe how physical she is in this story, and I think that was like the biggest setback for me, because it doesn't align with the Hermione in my head. Now I need to talk to you guys about something else with PSP, and it's totally unrelated to the story. If you guys have noticed my thumbnail, you guys know that I have a PSB Draco art on the thumbnail of my last video. Ever since I started doing videos, I always refrain myself from using dramione art on the thumbnail of my video. The only exception that I ever made were for a story that the author has already included art as their cover art. For example, you see Manacle or Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Audio of Being in Love. You will see many of those art on my thumbnail on my channels before, just because I feel like that's a little bit clickbaity of me to put dramione art on my thumbnail. But for PSB, I just know that I need a PSB Draco art on this thumbnail because. And one day I opened Instagram and I came across Crimson art, and it was just so perfect because I feel like the whole bloody, slutty, and pathetic title is for Draco alone, and he was so bloody, slutty, and pathetic all in that art. So I text her and was like, hey, hello, I really wanted to use your art for one of my YouTube video, and I'm like a nobody. You can totally say no to this, but if you want to see my channel before you give me permission, I'll send a link over. And she gave me the most wholesome responses that I can ever dream of. Such a wholesome moment in my whole dramione career that I needed to take a screenshot, and I almost wanted to print it out and frame it and put it on my wall. A moment that I would treasure forever, I think, in my dramione career. I hope you do enjoy this video. I hope you have a good time hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.